Welcome to the High-Achieeving Parents Podcast. I am your host, Severine Nassens, and I invite you to join us as we explore the reality and family experiences of high-achieving parents around the globe. Learn from like-minded parents who do believe balance is possible, but not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Stay tuned for conversations about how my guests juggle successful careers in parenthood to make it all work in their own way. Will we find a common thread throughout these interviews? Let's find out. Welcome to another episode of the High-Achieving Parents Podcast. And today I'm truly excited. There's a lot of sparkle going on in today's episode because I have Donna Chase with me. And we've met in the D&D mentorship group with Mr. Tim Grover. And I was completely blown away by Donna's story. And I asked her to come on the podcast and share it with us because she's achieved so much in life as a single mom, as a cancer survivor, business owner. She's been all over the place. And I'm not going to tell her story for her. I'm going to allow her to do that for us because there's so much to learn from Donna's story that I want to hand over the microphone to you, Donna. Welcome to the podcast, and thank you for accepting the invite.
Thank you so much for having me. Truly am blessed to be here. This is very exciting. Let me just start by saying it's very exciting. So my story, I have quite a story, and I love to share my story because, I think my story can be anybody's story. And I truly believe that. My story can be anybody's story. You just have to want it bad enough. You can do anything you want in this life. You can be anything you want to be in this life. You have it in you. You just have to have the desire, and you have to have the fight, and you have to have the chase.
Oh yeah. Well, we're all working on the chase, and your last name is the Chase. So this couldn't be any more perfect than that. And what I've learned from you is that no matter what life throws at you, you can pull through with the support of the people that surround you, but first and foremost with your own mindset and that yearning to get through, that yearning to make things happen. Now, you started out as an interior designer, right?
Correct.
So tell us a little bit more about how you got to build up that business and what happened for you when the kids came along.
Yeah. So, all right. So my kids, I actually already had my kids when I started the business. So I was already a mom, and I had been a stay-at-home mom. My husband at the time worked in California, but we lived in Texas. And so I stayed at home with the kids because I didn't really have support Monday through Friday. He was only home on the weekends. But it was time for me to go back to work. My youngest was in preschool, and I enjoyed my time at home, being a mom. Please don't get me wrong. I loved it, but I wanted more. I really wanted more. And I said, you know what? I'm going to hang out a shingle and I'm going to start my company. And that's what I did. I literally hung out a shingle and started designing draperies is really where it started. And I met who became one of my best friends, and she did reupholstery, and she was my workroom. So I would design, she would sew. It was great. Business was really good. We were kind of rolling right along. Then I was in the middle of my divorce, and I found out that I had cancer. And put the brakes on for a second. This is, how am I going to get through this? Okay, well, I've got to get through this because you know what? There is no knight in shining armor coming to rescue me. Okay, I've got to rescue myself. So I got to get through this. Okay, and I have to live, and I don't have a choice but to live because I have babies, and literally they were 3, 5, and 11, and I was like, this is not a choice. And so that's kind of the mindset of, I have to get through this. So, my friend Patricia took care of me during that time. She helped me with the kids. She helped me with me. And I ended up ramping down the business. Obviously it was, I wasn't really working that much because, I was, trying to get through treatment and everything. So we were getting ready to ramp things back up again. And my mom called, and my mom told me that she had colon cancer. And so I was flying back and forth. My mom was based here. I was in Dallas. And so I was flying back and forth, and I was trying to work, and I just was so conflicted. And I just said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I said, Patricia, I got to close the company. I got to shut everything down, and I got to go and take care of my mom. And that's what I did. I literally shut the company down and packed a U-Haul. And I drove the U-Haul myself. I drove it
And
across
then
the country.
that's how you ended up in Chicago, right?
Correct. So that's how I ended
Yeah.
up back home. So this is like where
So
I
you
grew up.
packed up the business, you
Yep.
packed up your kids, your whole life, and moved from Texas to Chicago to take care of your mom. And for what I understand, you were able to accompany your mom through her
Yep.
personal health journey.
Yes. So I
And
spent 18
then,
months with her, and
wow.
I was with her when she passed. So that was really a gift in my life. I mean, I can tell you, not many children get to spend that amount of time with their parents in adulthood, and then the things that I learned from her in those last 18 months were, invaluable. I mean, that was a gift, it absolutely was a gift.
What was the biggest lesson that your mom taught you in that period?
I think my mother was always very hardworking, but my mother was a waitress her entire life. Talk about a tough job. Oh my gosh, talk about a tough job. But I think my mom probably instilled in me this passion that I have and this drive that I have, that I can do anything that I want to do, and I can be anything that I want to be. And if I want to be a waitress, then I'm going to be the best damn waitress on the planet. But if I want to do something more and be something more, then I can do that. And I have the power to do that. I have it in me. And she really spent a lot of that time, during her fight, reminding me that I have the fight. I have it. I have what it takes in me to do anything I want to do, be anything I want to be, and get anywhere I want to get in life. So she kind of empowered me in that time, I think. I think before then, I was a mom and, I had my company, but I don't know that I had that drive that I somehow found, I just spending that time with her.
And what happened for you after that?
So
Because that's really where you took off, right?
it is. That was really the takeoff. So when she passed, I had to figure out what was I going to do. Am I going to reopen my company again? And at that point, the economy was really just still it wasn't good. It was 2011. Nobody was building. Nobody was designing. People just really weren't spending money. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? Like, I've just blown through my savings. I have to go back to work. And I had a friend who was a doctor, and she said, well, I want to open a med spa, but I don't know how to do this. And so I went to work with her and ran her med spa, got the staff in place and kind of just tooled it and got things running as a business. So she was a doctor, but they don't teach doctors how to run companies. That's not, it's not part of it.
That's part of it. No.
So I had the business background, and so I started working with her, and then we opened a second location. And then once both locations were up and running, I parted ways and I started my own company again, because I guess I just have that in me. I want to have my own company. I just do. So I started my own consulting business, and I would go in and teach doctors how to open a med spa, how to tool it, how to get things started, how to get things rolling. But I did it just as a consultant, because once things are up and running, then there's really no need for me any longer.
To be there.
Right. So I did that for several years. And then I met my current boss, David Schifrin, and he hired me to consult. And so I started 2 days a week. And then I had a contract that was ending. And he said, don't pick up another contract. Why don't you just give me 4 days a week? And I was like, okay, well, I can do that. And then my last contract, I was about 6 months in with him, and my last contract was ending. And he said, I don't want you. No, just come. Let's sit down and talk. I just want you to come and work for me. And I said, well, I don't know. Do I want to give up? Do I want to give up the company? Do I want to not have my own company? And I think at that point I was kind of getting tired of the travel. I was on the road a lot, and so I think I just decided, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. So I've now been with him. It'll be 6 years in July. So so I plan to retire with him. That's kind of our deal. So I started with him when he was a baby doctor. So he has just got into private practice full time. So he worked for the hospital system, and he did that for his first 5 years out of school. But he had started the practice on the side, had started seeing people outside of the hospital system. But when I came on, that's when he quit the hospital system, and we just went full bore ahead. So that was it.
Wow. With your expertise to manage the office and to get all of it organized. And I think what I can see is that organization is one of your strong points. I mean, you're managing 3 kids, you're managing a household, you're managing a lot of health issues, then you go back into managing your own business. What has been for you the highest achievement as a professional, as a high achiever?
Honestly, my highest achievement are my kids.
Yes.
My kids. 100% my children. Without a doubt, hands down, they are the greatest gift that I'll ever give the world. What I have instilled in them, what I'm still instilling in them, who I am helping to shape them to become. My kids, my son is in engineering school. He has a 4.0 grade point average. I mean, my kids are achievers. My daughter has a 4.0 grade point average. She wants to be a plastic surgeon. She wants to come and take this office over when my boss retires. So, just teaching my children the same thing that my mom instilled in me. I mean, that's the greatest gift I can give anybody. Pass it on. They are my legacy. I am my mother's legacy. They are my legacy. And I want them to achieve and be anything. You know what? You want to be an underwater basket weaver? You have my support 100%. But you're damn well going to work at it, and you're going to be the best at it.
Yeah, amazing. I love that you say that you are your mother's legacy and your kids are your legacy. And I also think that our kids, they come into our lives to teach us very valuable lessons. What has been for you the most valuable golden nugget that you've gotten out of being a mom?
Every day with them is, honestly, it's a joy. It really is. They teach me things. They surprise me just in everyday little things, as you said, you were painting with your daughter. I think some of the best moments, some of my wow moments are times spent with my kids, because they teach me things that I never even thought of. They still have the wonder, they still have the creativity and I just think as a parent, if I can continue learning from them all the little things that they have to share with me along the way, all I'm going to do with that is spread that even further. I mean, I say all the time, it's the sparkle, it's the shine, it's the sass, it's the spice, it's all those things. My daughter is so sassy. They say, oh my gosh, oh, you get it back tenfold. I'm going to tell you. I am definitely getting it back tenfold with that one. Literally from the time she was in the womb all the way through, even this morning, that girl is every bit of my sass that I ever gave my mother times 10, for sure. She's, but she's going to conquer the world. She's going to conquer the world, her world.
Well, you've shown your children as well that, well, with everything that you've been through, your own cancer, your mom's illness, setting up a business, closing it down, bringing it back up again, starting another completely different line of business. You've shown your children and you're showing us that anything is possible, really. And there's no stopping you, right?
There is none. There is no stopping me. I will I will persevere, and I'm going to screw things up, and I do screw things up. I mean, that's
We
part
all
of
do.
life, but I'm going to get back up. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. I may not do it right. It may take me 100 tries, but I'm going to keep at it until I get it right.
Yeah.
And
Where do you keep getting your energy from?
so funny. I actually talked to a friend this morning, and I just have to throw this out there. He said, you definitely need to make sure that you let them know that you are like a hummingbird on coke. I don't know where you get your energy from. I said, I don't know. It's just me. I mean, I wake up every day, and I think it's because I'm so grateful that I woke up. That I'm still here. I say it all the time. God left me here for a reason, and that reason is you. It's the truth. He left me here so that I can spread this to everybody, so that I can remind people. I mean, I think sometimes people just need that kick in the butt. They need to be reminded. Get up. Get up. You know what? You got knocked down. You got a day. Okay, lay on the floor and cry. You can lay on the floor and cry, but you get to do it for one day. Now, get your backside back up and get going. I mean, something bad happens. Okay, you have to mourn it. You can't just push it down, because that does no good. But you have to take it in. You have to deal with it. And then you have to get back up and keep fighting.
Yeah, and learn as much as you can from that situation to
Exactly.
keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. Wow, this is so good, Donna. This is so good. I've got so many things I want to ask you. Now, one of the main things that I ask all of my guests is, how do you maintain that balance, keeping all your plates spinning? I mean, the business, the household, the kids. I mean, you've got kids in college, in high school, very ambitious, all of you. How do you keep it all balanced out, if you wish? It's not like the perfect balance. We know it doesn't exist, but how do you keep them all running at the same
Okay.
time?
So my take on this is, it takes a village to raise a Donna. And I've been saying that for years, and it's the truth. So how do I balance it all? With a lot of help from a lot of people.
Mm,
My kids pitch in. Patricia's a very, very dear friend to me. She's, spending a lot of time with me here in Chicago now, back and forth, getting the company up and running again. My friends, I mean, honestly, just friends. My boss, he and his wife, who is also my boss, she's also a physician. With the help of them, my staff, the staff around me, I think it's my village. How do I do it? I do it with the village of people around me.
yes.
As much as as much as I'm taking care of everybody else around me, they're all taking care of me. And it just works. It's just, I somehow manage to keep the juggle going. And, there are days that I'm not as good at it, and then somebody else is picking up the slack. But if you surround yourself, and if you build the group of people around you, when you build your village, build it with people that are going to support you, and build it with people who understand, that you're going to have needs, you're going to give, but you're also going to need help along the way. So whether it
How
be
do
a
you keep
partner or partner, kids, friends, whatever.
how do you this it brings me to a point that when you surround yourself with a team, when you're teaming up with others, when you're creating that support system, for me, and that is from my personal perspective, communication is key to keep things going. How do you go about communicating your needs when you need something? Because as high achievers, we tend to want to take care of everything ourselves, right? We
100%.
get, I mean, we know we can,
Yep.
uh, but doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go out and do it all ourselves. How have you learned? What has been key for you to learn to communicate that you need support?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very hard thing. Okay, let's face it, it's hard. Nobody wants to ask for help. I mean, you just, I think as individuals such as us, we don't really want to ask for help. But I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that I had to learn that. I think that I had to have help with my kids. I think I had to have help. Um, I mean, even in my role here in the practice, I can't do everything myself. As much as I want to be the control freak and I want to control everything. And I think I had to learn in business that I have to have support. And so in hiring a staff, I hire a staff based on who's going to be able to help me, who's going to be able to give me the support. And I think that's kind of how I picked those people that surround me in my life. I think I've read, don't be the smartest person in the room, because then you're never going to get anywhere. Surround yourself with people that you can learn from, and that's really what I do. When I hire people, I try to hire people that are high achievers, because I know that they're going to put in the effort. They're going to do the things that I need them to do. And when I say I need you to do X, they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and I don't have to worry about it. And so it's the same in life. It's the same with my friend group. And honestly, some of my staff are some of my best friends, to be honest with you. Not only do they do a fabulous job here in the practice, but outside of the practice, just as much of a support both ways, just kind of grown into this family. It's really become a family,
That's beautiful.
it's fabulous.
It's a blessing.
I can't do any better than that. I just can't, I mean, I have the biggest cheerleaders here. Like I'm the biggest cheerleader. No, I have the biggest cheerleaders here. I mean, my boss
you've got the
I
team.
do.
They have your back.
I do. And in life, not just in the practice, but in life.
Sweet. That's so cool. I'm so happy for you, because it is important to surround yourself with the people that will support you. And in my experience, I've been surrounded with a lot of great people, but then again, you end up getting kind of some leeches try to step in and they drain your energy. But if you do have a strong surrounding, they will keep those bad energies away for you as well. So
Isn't it
that's
funny how they protect you? So sometimes they protect you from yourself.
Oh yes, that's the most important part of it, because they do know that once we get going, it's easy. It's not that easy to put a brake on us, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. Now, talking about that, putting a brake on it, how do you keep your sanity? How do you power down? How do you slow down?
I don't. Okay, twice a year. Okay, I slow down twice a year, and unfortunately with COVID, I haven't been able to do this, but I actually have a place in Grand Cayman. And I love 2 weeks. I like to go in July, and then I like to go at the new year. And I like to just take my 2 weeks and be away with my kids. And that's kind of our thing, so we go away for 2 weeks. We're unplugged. My phone will not work there. I will take my computer, and I will check email, but I try to do that very, very briefly. I try to check in like once a day with the staff, but for the most part, I want to lay on the beach. I want to go diving with my kids. I want to unplug. I want to go have some fabulous food, and just have our downtime. And that's pretty much it. So it's twice a year. I do it twice a year, always with the kids. And other than that, I don't slow down. Like honestly, most days I am up at 4 a.m. My surgery center opens at 6, so my day typically starts here at 6. Last night I was here until 6:30. I went home. I had a call for my business. I went to bed at 10:30, and I was back up at 4. So that's a normal day for me. It's just the norm. It's what I know, and I'm not a person who needs the sleep. I thrive on the amount of sleep that I'm getting. So I don't slow down. This is what I love. I'm doing what I love in all aspects of my life. I'm just doing what I love every day. I'm getting to share my story. I'm getting to share a lot of sparkle and a lot of shine. And, in what I do, I work in plastic surgery. So, I'm changing lives every day. I'm not the guy with the scalpel, but, we're changing lives. We do some amazing work here, and just, people come in and they're not happy with their appearance. And I think you have to be happy in your own skin in order to be happy. So, when someone comes in and there's something that just really bothers them and they're just so self-conscious, it's just not allowing them to sparkle and shine the way that they should be.
Mhm.
So every day in my work, I'm getting to be part of transforming people. I mean, it's amazing. I can't even tell you the amount of patients that have just become just fantastic friends over the years,
Mhm.
just because I've been such a part of their story. I've been a part of the change in them and the shift in them and the going from being unhappy and, kind of afraid in life and you know, not really living up to their potential. And then watching the
The bloom.
butterfly come out. It's fabulous. I get to do this every day. I'm blessed in this career that I have,
Mhm.
that I get to be part of it.
And aside from changing people's lives at the clinic, you also have your interior design business back up and running, right?
Yes, up and running. So been a month. So it's been a crazy month, but yeah, it's back up and running and taking orders. So Patricia will be back to sew. So we have some drapery orders coming up that are in the pipeline, and then the flowers are fabulous. I mean, even if I don't have orders, I'm still constantly just working on the
Mhm.
flowers and dyeing flowers. So you see, I have them right back there. Um,
Beautiful.
Yep, dyeing flowers, and putting arrangements together and just putting things on the
Mhm.
website. So, it's a hobby, I guess, but it's a hobby that I love, that I really have some passion for.
Mhm.
I just it's not it's something else that I can share with the world. It's like another avenue of, sparkle and shine and, just pretty, let's throw it out there. Let's,
bringing
yeah,
bringing joy and sparkles all over, and I
exactly.
really like that. I like that concept as well, that it doesn't all have to be extremely serious when we're in business. It doesn't all have to be like black and white or very strict and very polished. It can be full with color and
Yep.
sparkle and joy and
Yep.
laughter. I love to laugh, and I love to have a good conversation. This is so good. So I'm enjoying this conversation really a lot. Now, another question that I have ask everyone that comes on the podcast is, as a high achieving mom, what would your best piece of advice be for other high achieving parents?
Spend time with your kids. When you have the opportunity, spend the time. And I'm not saying, every day. I'm not saying, you have to be with them 24/7. That's not at all what I'm
Hmm.
saying. What I'm saying is the time that you spend with your children, spend it with your children. Like I said, I take 2 weeks a year, and that is our time. Okay, nobody's getting in the way of that. It's us, and we are going to enjoy our time together. During the week, they're in school, they have their activities on the weekends. I mean, they're busy. I mean, they're almost adults. I mean, I have two that are adults. My 24-year-old's already, she's getting married, so she's grown and she's gone. My son. Um, I'm fortunate, I'll have him, with me for 2 extra years because he's gonna, go to school in Chicago so that he can live with mom, which is really kind of cool. So I love that. But he's a gamer and he has his own things. But
Hmm.
when we do things together, we really spend time together. So it's not like I spend time with him every single day. I don't. Um, but when we do spend time together, we really connect. And I think
Hmm.
that's the best advice I can give to any parent is, you know what, you have to, when you have the time, give them the attention. And it doesn't have to be 24/7. And realistically, it's not going to be 24/7. But
It's hard to I mean, it's also hard for them to have us on top of them 24/7, so they need their space to develop into their own personality. Now, I also know that your youngest, she helps you with the design business, right?
she does. She does.
So involving the kids in your business endeavors is another
absolutely.
way to spend time with them.
Yeah, and my son does all the he does all the photography. So he takes all the photos of the draperies and the flowers and all that. So he's involved too. So, having them, be a part of it. My daughter is, she has been working with me honestly since she was about 4 years old. In one aspect or another. I mean, back when I had my original design firm, I had a clothing line, and it was children's clothing, little girl clothing. And so my daughter modeled for me, and she started that when she was 4. So she's kind of been working with me all along the way, in one aspect or another. But now she's doing flowers. She'll dye flowers. She's whatever needs to be done. She's kind of there.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Donna. And I wish you good health.
Thank you.
And tons of success and lots of happiness, and keep the sparkle flowing.
I will, for sure.
I'm already looking forward to our next session. What was your major takeaway from this one? I'd love to hear from you. Come and share your insights with me on social media at Coach Severine Nassens, and visit High-Achieving Parents.com for more information on how you too can find clarity and obtain the tools to find fulfillment in both your professional and family life. Talk to you soon.